welcome to this presentation. It's over, we're safer more than ever. Now, 7 years ago, we probably were not this safe. But as time went on, we started developing across the state of Texas different types of safety protocols. Now, I'm going to tell you about how this developed and how this district put things together to make it safer for them. Because there's different scenarios, different things that they could have added through the state, but some schools were able to do it because of more budgeting and money, but that's another presentation. But today, we're going to discuss this one. Next slide. In the beginning, about June 8th, 2018, prior to this, a school by the name of Santa Fe High School, or Santa Fe ISD, was hit by an active shooter. This killed a lot of students and teachers. And so after this, the Governor Abbott and Commissioner Morath put together a roundtable. This letter went out to everybody in the state of Texas. So during that roundtable discussion in Austin, this took place, and it discussed what can we do at this time because there's too many things going on. We got to make our district safer. Well, Commissioner Morath said, if you don't have a safety plan in place now, then you better get it done this summer. So we did. That district that I was at, we ended up putting another table together, round table, and we started discussing it. Now, some schools probably had some things in place, but it wasn't as it is today. Next slide. The task force was developed in this particular district. And what happened was we got individuals like teachers, parents, DPS officers, local PD, the EMS department, the superintendent was involved. So there was a conglomerate of people that came in, important stakeholders. And we ended up putting this roundtable together and discussing what can we do? How can we make our district a little bit safer? So we had to do one thing. We ended up taking that roundtable discussion and ended up putting things in place. Okay, we have school resource officers, or you could do the guardian plan, school marshals. What can we do? We can implement cameras, panic buttons. There was so many things involved, but we needed to do something in a hurry. So the CKC, the local CKC, had to be adjusted. So we had to take purpose, and that was to put the board in place and say, hey, can we allow this to happen? They voted on it, and they said, yes, we need to do something. So we ended up putting a guardian program in, but this had to be adjusted. So the authorization of who can carry and how they can lose their weapons, and in the policy it reads, each specific authorization employee shall be approved by the action of the board. So the board had to get named, so we had to find out who can we put in place. So we ended up having to do that, but also the handgun license, they had to get that. They also had to have a level 3 psychological evaluation, plus they had to get a training by me. I was in the military for 25 years, and I was a certified instructor, so we ended up doing that. But we had to put something in place. Who is going to be that person to carry, and how are we going to tell the community that we have weapons? And we're going to draw the line in the sand, and if you come across and try to hurt our kids, we're going to retaliate. Now, we're talking educators here. We're talking educators, and that's our job, is to educate and get kids through pre-K, through all the way to 12th grade, and graduate them to be productive citizens. So we had to come up with a plan. This was something that we looked at. We continued looking at different aspects of people who already had the plans in place prior to us. And I came up with this one, and we voted on it. Still, we didn't quite like it enough. So the committee got back together, and the final sign was in place. Muleshoe ISD, please be aware that the Muleshoe ISD takes pride in our safety of our district, and will use whatever force necessary to protect our students. And we will, and they did. And so here we go. So sign was developed, the guardian plan took place, we set up some interviews, and we had a big turnout, which was pretty amazing in its way, because there was a lot a lot of teachers who were willing to want to participate in that program. Psychological evaluations were done. Extensive training was conducted on each campus in the firing range, and then training will continue throughout the school year and again in the summer. That's what we were doing. That's what needed to take place. There was a long road ahead of us to make sure everything was going to be proper. So we did. We implemented the Guardian program again. I decided to go train them. We shot at the range. We even took this back into the school itself. We purchased Glock 17s, trainers, and we shot at each other. We ended up teaching them how to do movement down hallways, clearing rooms. And then after we did that, we had to implement other protocols. So we ended up taking the I Love You Guys Foundation, and we wanted to make sure that those things were in place so teachers, students, and everybody knew exactly what we're talking about. Lockouts, lockdowns, holes, fire drills, everything needed to be updated and changed. So we did. We ended up taking the I Love You Guys Foundation. Here's evacuation, shelter, bomb threats. Nobody ever thinks about bomb threats, and this is something we had to put in. Proceed with room by room, and all these procedures had to be in place. Radios had to be one of the top priorities so we could get communication out. Then we alternating locations. Where do we go? How do we put people in place? How do we, the 504, the life skills, those students, how do we transport them from one point A to point B, you know, those type of things. So we had to put things in place, and we had to train. We had to train vigorously so we could be a muscle memory type situation. Next slide. Tornado positions. This is from the State Safety Center. We would always go crisscross applesauce, as the elementary would do that, but this is the actual position that the state would want you to be in. Now, the I Love You Guys Foundation, this is a pretty interesting story. I went through this training at least 3 times, and this was pretty good. The individual lost his daughter at Columbine and decided to want to do something. The last thing he said, or she said to the parents, was, "I love you guys." So he named it that. And it goes over lockout, lockdowns, evacuate, shelter in place, and hold. This was actually put in not too long ago, the hold one. But these are interesting ones, and all of them have a procedure that the teacher has to do, and also the administrators. But all of these take attendance, take attendance, take attendance, take attendance, take attendance. And the reason for that is the responsibility for the students to keep track of their students. Then the communication comes involved by communicating with the group or teams to see if we didn't have that individual student, if it was missing on our roster. So we had to make sure that we taught the teachers and the administrators and also the staff members, the custodians, to make sure that they understood how to communicate those particular situations. So the hold was put in to remain in let's say there was a fight outside, or somebody was bleeding, or some sort of incident took place. We hold those students back in their locations, in their rooms, and then we release them when it's all clear. So this is something else. The incident command system. This was pretty interesting. We had to update this, and this is another deal that each district in Texas, not even in Texas, it can be in the employment sector or the corporate world, where you have to have a command system. So the top person is incident commander. You got to have your public relations person, safety officer, the officer liaison who talks with law enforcement people and finding out how they do. And then all of these entities, operation, planning, logistics, and finance, all have people under them. And it's pretty unique because each and every person has a job to do. And so we had to make sure that they understood that, gave them a description, and we just had to push them and lead from the front to make sure everybody understood that. Now, the biggest part of this was to change the mindset of the educators, to let them know that because we're in Little Old Millshoe, or Canyon, or Freona, or Dimmitt, Morton, Farwell, that you're not immune to anybody wanting to shoot your school up or having to do something with them to hurt your students. You're not immune to that. So we had to make sure that we changed that mindset to make sure that they understood so they could act properly train their students properly. So here we go. The Dillman Elementary, this is one of the examples I put in, and they actually took part of putting places in place so everybody knew exactly where things were. This particular slide was made for the administrators for the shutoff valves, gas shutoffs, electrical shutoffs, AEDs, alarms. Now everybody needs to know that, but administrators are probably the ones that are going to go out there and shut those things off just in case something happens, or the facilities director. But really, you'll have people backing you up on that, but these are the locations of everything else. In this particular one, this is the classrooms, hallways that you could possibly use in case of tornadoes, changing rooms, but also law enforcement and EMS would also get a copy of these. And this is just for one particular campus, but all of them pretty much are going to be the same. Here is the evacuation plan, depending on what side you are, color-coded, green, yellow, black, blue, and I don't know what color that is because I'm colorblind, but anyway, that particular color, just color-coded so you know exactly which hallway you're in, and you could be in the first grade hallway, second grade hallway, third grade, or same as 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th, and then 8th grade, but you have it color-coded. This is tornado procedures. This is going to tell you exactly where you can go and you're going to be safe. That's where they are, all down the hallways, no glass, no windows, and these are pretty much secure areas, and it's throughout. These are all in every room, so nobody has anything to say about where do I go. You have your procedure. These are right here going to be for reunification. If we had to reunify at the actual campus, you would have your primary staging, secondary staging, temporary morgue, incident command post, secondary and primary, and student reunification locations. How are we going to do that? This is if you had to reunify at the campus, but the main point, the first phase would be at a different location. We want to take parents away and media, everybody away from that location where at that campus if it got hit. So this is something that I like to end with. I know this is pretty brief and pretty fast, but our objective in Muleshoe ISD or any other campus in the state of Texas is to keep students and staff safe and educate them to graduate them. Now these are the 4 campuses in that district. You have DeShays or Richland. I say Richland Hills. This is not all but this is Neil B.D. Elementary, pre-K to 2nd grade, DeShays 3rd to 5th, Watson, Elizabeth Watson, 6th through 8th, and of course Muleshoe High School, 9 through 12. Those are important. These are our kids. Each and every student is precious to us. It's a precious commodity. There ain't nothing like them. No matter where you go, you fall in love with these kids. Yeah, they can be a pain in the butt sometimes, but I guarantee you, they are loved. They are cherished. They're somebody else's babies. The parents are giving us the responsibility to educate them, but nevertheless to protect them in each and every way form. This right here is what it's all about. I love every one of these kids. I still remember them today. Some of these are already gone. Some of them are graduated. These slides have been when we first started off 7 years ago. So this is something that you need to look at. And every teacher and every guardian, every principal at Muleshoe ISD appreciates this, because this is exactly what we want to go to. From pre-K to 12th grade, and then finally, this is our mission. Our mission is to graduate our pre-K kindergarten and then get them to Muleshoe High School graduation. That's the mission. But in the process, we got to keep them safe. And that's the mission we went on when Commissioner Morath gave us that directive, as you would say. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I love what I do, even if I was a safety director or a principal, and hopefully some days a superintendent. But this is an amazing, amazing job. And it's not for everybody, but I guarantee you it's worth every penny you put in to get to where you need to be at. Thank you.